This short film documents the development of the first year of Extant's regional hub building with partners Birmingham and The Lowry in Salford Keys. The hub building programme comprised different elements, including training, performance and participation. Visual awareness training at cultural venues is crucial to give staff the tools to welcome and support visitors with a visual impairment. Shazia Begum of Birmingham Vision highlights some of the barriers and why training with the Lowry and Mac have been so vital.
Sort of help is actually there at the front desk. Can somebody guide them? Can someone take them to their seat? Is the audio description available? If it is, who's going to set it up for them? So all these things do actually worry people.
Jenny Riding, Learning and Engagement at the Lowry.
I found it really important and really helpful to have a visually impaired facilitator leading the training because they were both able to talk about their real life experiences. It was helpful because there were two people and both of them actually had different experiences and different ways of approaching things, different words that they might have preferred. So it helped, I think it helped people to understand that actually it's not entirely blanket policy, everybody's an individual.
David Clare, the Lowry's technical manager.
I think a big one for me with the training was to literally walk around the building with my eyes closed. That part of the training was really useful because obviously putting yourself in the position of a person with visual impairment and full visual impairment, was really interesting because I've never really, it's just a visceral, first-hand way of doing something, isn't it, that really sends the message home of what it actually feels like to walk around the building with, that condition.
Beth Hogan, Administrative Assistant at Mac.
Before, I wouldn't have been confident to lead somebody if they wanted to be led around the building, but with the training we were given, I'm much more confident in being able to take somebody around and not feel like I'm patronising them or that I'm leading them too much.
Here staff at Mac Birmingham put into practice skills learnt from the training by providing a touch tour for audience members. Vicky Bell, Mac's HR manager, thinks that this is only the start.
We can get more people here, we can employ people with different disabilities, because everybody can bring something to Mac and we want to be able to allow them to bring it to Mac and we can help them and they can help us in other ways.
Partners are now eager to enhance their provision by developing links with local venues and community groups, and they're ambitious. The Lowry's Jenny Riding.
I think this year's experiences with Extant have been a brilliant foundation for us to start thinking about how we improve services for visually impaired people. I absolutely think that we can continue to grow that and develop that, and the ways that I think we can see that happening are continuing to build those relationships with individuals and groups locally.
Same level, everything, same level.
Elizabeth leads a community drama session with Galloway Society for the Blind. Beth Hogan.
I think it's really important that we team up with more and more people like Extant, especially smaller local groups, because if we don't, we don't get that feedback, we don't learn anymore.
Here at Mac, students from Queen Alexandra College take part in a physical workshop using red fabric to create a snake across the studio. As well as working with community groups, both Mac Birmingham and The Lowry are linking with local venues to improve access. David from Lowry feels these kind of links are important.
If you've got a connection across a few venues, that's bound to work well because people can learn from mistakes, people can listen to the experiences of the other venues, and I think that then in turn will mean that across the group everybody grows.
In April 2016, Extant toured a production of Eugene Ionesco's The Chairs. With a visually impaired director and cast, the performance included a touch tour and audio description to enhance the experience for members of the audience with visual impairments. The characters Old Man and Old Woman stood in an eroded power station, greet an imaginary guest. Here's Jodie Stuss, Extant's Participation Programme Manager.
I think what's been really important about having the Chairs tour to the Mac and Lowry is the importance of having a visually impaired cast, director, adding a new dimension to programming within those venues.
Marcia Springer from Mac Birmingham and Ian Marriott from The Lowry feel the tour benefited staff too.
For us, and for me individually, I think it was a great way of introducing another diverse community into Mac, and hopefully that will continue as a result of the experience that we've had with Extant.
I think the fact that the cast had the impairments and we were exposed to that and allowed to probe and prod and ask questions and explore the set, I think that was fantastic. I think it was great having the opportunity as a team of staff to go onto the stage and experience them. I mean, I've done theatre myself on stage, so I'm quite aware of the difficulties of having to navigate the stage. Not the extent of being registered blind, so I have some sight, but the experience of having the different floors and the different, using the sound during the touch tour to explain where things are on the stage, I think it was very eye-opening for a lot of the staff to show this is how people have to navigate a space they're not used to.
A touch tour of the futuristic set was available in addition to audio descriptions. Elizabeth Wainwright was in the audience.
I found the touch tour of the set, so inspiring and so detailed, and so it had in mind visually impaired, accessibility. That's entirely what it had in mind for me, and it didn't lose any of its creative, it didn't lose any of its impact from a visual point of view. So that was one of the biggest things that affected me.
Back against the wall. Evening, gentlemen. Mop kicked aside.
Lucy Hayward feels that audio description can also add an extra dimension to a performance.
The impact that Extant is having, encouraging more people to use audio description, and not purely as they are moving from stage right to stage left, but including it as part of the script, as part of the storyline. And that means that any audience member, whether they're visually impaired or not, can come in, engage with the piece, and they'll walk out and go, oh wow, that was amazing, that had a whole new dimension to the work.
Extant has run a series of workshops in and around Birmingham and Manchester, aimed at engaging people who have a visual impairment with performing arts. The workshops are designed to meet the needs and interests of each group. Workshop facilitator Lucy, herself visually impaired, leads a workshop of games and drama with a large group in a hall in Birmingham. Here she discusses her experiences.
I'm working to adapt all these very visual workshops into ones that are accessible for people who have limited vision, and it's hard work, but it's really interesting.
Here is Gaz enjoying directing another participant in a movement activity. She describes what Lucy's approach is.
So she understands what we are going through. So she does take her time and explaining stuff to you. She even describes what she's actually doing and how she's doing it.
Access worker Jack joins in with activities as well. Access workers are there to assist participants. Jack explains his role.
I've been helping to guide people and make sure that they can get to the venue and know where things are, know who they need to speak to, identifying who's there, making sure that they feel comfortable and confident in the workshop.
Karen from Birmingham Vision explains the impact on the group.
It's built the confidence, and it's also brought them together as a group. And when you see them come out the comfort zone, it is so rewarding to see these people where they started off from and where they've reached. I think some of them would like to be in a part of a theatre play as well. This, you can see the ones that really come out the shells, and I think that would be great if they could.
Mo has been coming regularly to workshops.
It has brought more joy into the group, as in like more activities, everyone more active at the seat doing something.
Over in Manchester, visually impaired artist Elizabeth has been leading workshops with a small group at Z Arts. They've been dissecting lines of Shakespeare. Here is Dennis, quoting Macbeth.
Is this a dagger I see before me? The handle toward my hand. Come, let me take thee.
Dennis explains why Extant sessions are so important to him.
This is a great opportunity to give people hands-on experience of being involved rather than just being spectators. It puts people into an area where they might not normally be, so they're able to get the experience of interacting, and often you can share and learn more about people's experiences of visual impairment.
For the artist facilitators themselves, it has been a valuable experience. Here's Elizabeth.
My journey with Extant has very simply has made me realise I'm part of a family I didn't realise I was part of, actually. And it's been a great journey to know that the creative part of me it can be expressed through that within that family as well.
We've connected with a massive range of people that we haven't done before in terms of participation. Haven't heard of Extant, haven't taken part in a workshop before, haven't heard of the Lowry or the Mac before, but now are having those conversations of, oh, maybe I could go to the theatre.
Extant are keen to leave a lasting legacy of the possibilities for access awareness within wider programming of the venues, and to further enrich the lives of more visually impaired individuals. Extant would like to thank the following for their support of the Hub and making of the film: Francesca Waite and Kate Fitzgerald from the Lowry, Timothy Hodgson, Claire Marshall and Marcia Springer of Mac Birmingham, Queen Alexandra College in Birmingham, Birmingham Vision, Galloway Society for the Blind and Action for Blind People Manchester. Extant works in partnership with Mac Birmingham and the Lowry in Salford Keys. Extant is funded by the Esme Fairbairn Foundation, Sportivate, Arts Council England, and The Chairs was produced by Turtle Key Arts. This film was created by Rachel Gillies, community filmmaker, with additional footage of The Chairs by Alan Bowyer of Primo Films. For more information on this or Extant's other work, go to www.extant.org.uk.